I think of when you are in that backup position, you kind of have to, like you said, wear a lot of different hats because you have to kind of be ready to be in that starting role at a moment's notice there. And I think that kind of really came to fruition for you with the Ravens and even with the Seahawks there kind of coming back in spot starts there. But that idea of preparation, right? That I feel like that's a quality that you can never have too much abundance of. So maybe from a coaching perspective, where we're kind of gearing up for the upcoming season, advice for coaches to prepare during the off season.
Yeah, preparation gets like leadership these days. It gets thrown into this giant bucket of ambiguity. Like you don't really know what it means anymore because it has so many different tails to it, has so many different branches to it.
Sure.
To me, the easiest way I can articulate preparation, the way I do it with our staff and our kids, is the way you do small things is the way you do all things. So every little thing matters. For like a coach, scripting your next day of practice is very important, right? Every coach nod their head and be like, yeah, you can't function well the next day if you're not scripting well. But how you're evaluating the previous day's film and the notes you're taking and the communication you have with your staff, that leading into scripting the next day, and then taking into account all the little tiny things that go into how many reps has that guy had? Has he run that right? Has he run it left? How many times has he had his hand in the dirt? How many times has he been standing up? Who's been going against in practice? It takes a lot of mental gymnastics to continue to get the details well. Well, excuse me. If you're willing to take every little decision as a big decision, you're naturally going to prepare well. You don't have to tell yourself to work hard. You don't have to tell yourself to prepare hard. It becomes who you are because you can't sleep at night if you haven't covered every detail, if you haven't prepared for every detail. And it's an accumulation of those little things that allow the big things to naturally take care of themselves. We don't talk a ton. I'll give you an example. Some offensive coaches may freak out when I say this. We talk very little about coverage. I bet you we talk as little as any staff in America about defensive coverages. But we talk a ton about corner technique, corner safety backer triangles, rotations, force players, alley players, how they force, all these different things that basically we're breaking a coverage down to its smallest detail, teaching the details, and then eventually you don't have to talk about the bigger thing. The bigger thing takes care of itself because you've taught all the micro elements of it. So again, that's just one example. I can talk about front seven play very similarly. That if you're covering every little detail, if you're preparing for every little thing, then a lot of the big things just naturally take care of themselves.